Tēnā rā tātou e te iwi, nau mai haere mai ki tēnei wānanga, ki tēnei kōrero, ara ko Māori Conversations. Kia ora tātou, my name is Kapa-Kingi. I will be tonight's host for Māori Conversations alongside my two beautiful guests, my mother, Mariameno Kapa-Kingi, and my whanaunga, Raniera Harrison. At this time, I'm going to hand the rākau kōrero to my whanaunga, so he can share a bit about himself, and then we'll get into our wānanga for tonight. So, kia koe e te whanaunga.
Apai, tēnā koe te tuakana e hemi, naura I whakapuare tēnei wahanga kōrero kia tātou, kia horahia maira ko te takapau wānanga, hei āta kōrero, rero mā tātou I tēnei haoro te pō. Oti rā kia koe, Auntie, tēnā koe, tai aukarongo, ko whiua tō pōtai ki roto I te ringi, hei kakari atu ki ngā mea, ki roto o pōneke, te hepe teme e tūmai nei, no reira e mihana kia kairua. Oti rā, kūtou katoa e whakarongo mai ana e mātakitaki mai ana I o kūtou tini kāinga, tēnā kūtou katoa. Ko ai ahau, ko Raniera Harrison tōku ingoa, ko hau tetahi o ngā tini tamariki I tupu mai ngā rekereke o taku whae o Mariameno. Hoeno, e pene ana te kōrero ko tawhitirahi te maunga, ko awa poka te awa, ko pōtahi te marae, ko te pauri te iwi. Hoeno, ko mātou tēnei, iahu mai I ngā pātiki o te kou, ara, kei whāngare te ringo prawa hau e noho ana. E mahi ana au, I roto o ākarana I tēnei wā, engari, ko hoki mai au ki te kāinga I runga I ngā āhuatanga COVID o te wā. No reira kei whāngare au e mihi nei kia kūtou katoa I tēnei po, tēnā kūtou katoa.
Kia ora, Chris. So we'll jump into our first question for tonight. And our kaupapa kōrero is rangatai, social media, and te tautokero. So our first question is, and we'll start with you, Mum. What was your experience growing up in tautokero, and how's it the same, and how's it different to today's rangatahi?
So without declaring my age too much, son, it was a little while ago. But it was, I guess, in some regards simpler, but also in other ways harder, and harder in a very, every whānau on the street, every whānau that we worked with, played with, fished with, we were connected. So we left Te Kao quite early in the 60s, moved down 7 babies, and then we had 3 more, and we moved into this home here, which I'm still in. So 10...
Kei hiara. We'll check it over to you, Kaz. Same question. What was your experience growing up at Te Tautokero, and how's it the same, and how's it different to today's rangatahi?
Much the same, and just to follow off the kōrero of our whae, Mariameno, I just want to touch on the huge shift that happened, and we're both products of that shift. All of the whānau who moved from Te Kao to Whāngarei. Ko hoki mai, Auntie.
Hai ana. Haere tonu, darling.
We were just talking about, you're touching on all of the whānau who did move from Te Kao in the 60s and 70s, and, hear me and the boys, and your daughter and myself, we're all products of that. All of those whānau moving I noho tua whenua mo te wāroa kātahi, ka haere mai ki roto o Whāngarei, ki te pai oranga ne. And so for me, it's an interesting space, especially when we think about this online and moving, sharing our whakaaro and all of our emotional attachments to whatever online. This isn't the first time that Māori have had to grapple and deal with how we conduct ourselves in a different setting. Ko te hunukutanga tuatahi rawa, ko te hunukutanga o ngā whānau mai te Kao ki Whāngarei, I aenena, mai Whāngarei ki te ao. Hare te mea he āhuatanga hau tēnei kia tāua te Māori, engari e hau tonu ana. Nā te mea, if I can go back to some of the tētahi o ngā kōrero I puta I ngā kaumātua, ko enei tikanga e hau tonu ana, kaore anō kia ākina e te wā. These things that we find ourselves grappling with are still new to us, so this is all new, but at the same time, we've been here before, we've done it before, and we're going to do it again.
Kia ora koutou. So we'll just continue on with you, Mum. You're sharing your journey from Te Kao to Whāngarei in our homestead in Onerahi.
Yeah. Yeah, I think when I'm listening to Raniera, I'm reflecting on some of the stories that Daddy would talk about, even the aspirations or the ideas that they had, like drying shark, catching, drying, and then transporting them all the way down to Auckland and Kumara, huge mahinga. So I just, as you say, this is it's adaptability,
Mm,
and it's the perseverance to survive on terms and things that we know work for us, that we
mm,
relate to, whenua,
mm,
whakaaro, Māori, reo, and so I guess from there moving to Hangarei here, and as I say in this 4-bedroom whare here in Onerahi, and 10 kids and mummy and daddy, and again transporting that life here. So
mm,
what everyone, all the other neighbours, Pākehā neighbours, called lawns, we had mahinga. So it was like watching somebody have a lawn and riding a bike around, which is all a little bit curious for us.
mm,
It was mahinga. I have photos. Every piece of this area here
mm,
was garden. I remember mummy and
mm,
daddy digging this driveway and laying it themselves.
mm,
So the carport built by daddy. So yeah, that was an ordinary life for us back then, son. Real
mm.
hands-on,
Yeah,
making things ourselves, real, Māori.
yeah.
Mm.
Mm.
And just as the two stories that have been shared, Mum, like your guess the haringa from Te Kao to Whangarei and that being its journey, and then the activities and behaviours of that time to where Raniera growing up in a more contemporary sense, and what those behaviours and activities are. It's a contrast, but much is still the similar traits of connection, whanaungatanga, mano, wera mea, kia tuhei Māori. So it's interesting just to see things may change, but things are certainly still the same in terms of rata manu. Cool. So we'll jump into our next question. Rangatahi occupy a large space within the social media industry as consumers and creators. What makes this generation so skilled and ready for this technology? We'll start with you, Brans.
Interesting part though, bro. And when I was reading that question earlier, I couldn't quite come to a place where I had arrived at the exact at an exact answer. What I do know though is that our kids are digital natives, much like our ancestors were natives in their own environments. E whakaaro anau ki taku tamahi me rua noho ne te pakeke o tērā, e mātupahi ana ki te whakamahi me papa. 2 years old and she knows how to work an iPad. So this demographic are at a space where we really need to, I don't know if it's a define or refine how we conduct ourselves in this space, because this space is going to be largely carry us into our future. It's already started. And we can see, with a lot of the kaupapa that are spoken about online, koe nei te marae o te wā. And if we can go down that channel, like, and we've seen it time and time again on the marae, people say, karepe e tika ana kia whakapāhongia ngā hui mate ngā tangihanga I runga I te pukamata. Koe nei, engari koe tahi atu e mea ana, koe nei te marae o te wā, e tika ana kia pērā. So I'm kind of, which is why I preface my kōrero with, I'm kind of sitting on the fence here, where I don't know how we should progress forward. What I do know is that we do need to progress forward, because our kids, these iPads, these iPhones, these laptops are at their fingertips, and they know them better than any of us do.
Yeah. And what are your thoughts on just on that?
So digital natives, love the term. It's exact, and I think it describes how our young people now, definitely, and our very, very young, are wired. They're wired for this technology way more, and I think fundamentally so. Fundamentally so. So you're not just, knowing how to press buttons and how to move a screen. There's a wiring towards it. And I think it's a marvelous thing. I think it's a marvelous thing. I even I hear stories that and I do get it. Of course, there's risks in any technology. There was risks when the horse and cart was put together. So so it's not a new thing to be afraid of technology. But I think what I've learned in 2012, Hemi, and you'll remember, is that technology saved lives in the suicide spike in 2012 in Taitokerau. That's what I know. And it saved lives because young people designed the model, right? So I'm a fan of it, no question. But I think it's more fundamentally changed, and I think. So I'm a digital immigrant, right? I do my best. I can get around it, but without the likes of you and younger people, we just don't, we don't quite get it. And maybe it's not for us. We're happy to lend a hand, or have our young ones support us. But I think there's more to come around what the changes are going to mean. Hear me? So,
and just following from that point, Auntie, if I can add that, kia nei horekau he hua. Pene e tangata whenua ana a tātou tamariki I runga I te ipurangi, engari ko manuhiri kē rātou I runga I o tātou marae. So if we look at it from that way, if we speak about digital natives, o tangata whenua ngā tamariki I te pukamata, I te pai āhua, I te YouTube, I hea notu. Engari, horakau kē rātou mo te hoki mai, ki ngā kāinga, paku no hone pene me te kau. No reira, if we look at it from that view, we're only halfway. The fight's only half done. We've got our kids online and engaged. We've engaged our kids. We're engaging with our kids. Cool. But how do we get them back onto our marae so that we can have the best of both worlds, where they feel empowered, where they feel confident enough to stand up and say what they're saying in their Facebook statuses and their Instagram posts on their marae. And then, for me, that's the true mark of whether or not we've done our job with reclaiming our identity in this online space.
Great.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that first point in regards to like kind of two schools of thought around reservations of sharing stuff online, and then that being the way the world is evolving. Because there's it begs the question: are we just denying the inevitable? Our kids are already engaging and interacting with these technologies at younger ages and becoming more fluent with them. Why don't we create those tikanga, create those ture, so when they interact and use it in the way that they do, they're doing it in a safe way, in a Māori way, in a best practice way. And just as you pointed just there, because there's that point of balance, understanding, yes, this is a tool for you to engage with, to share your whakaaro, but to be grounded and to be sound in who you are, going back to your marae, going back to your whānau, to your hapu, to your iwi, providing that whole spectrum of knowledge. So I get that point 100%.
Amy, I think, over the last 12 weeks now, of the 8 tangi that we're aware of, that I'm aware of, the only way that they could be accessed by whānau across the world was through technology. It was the only way they could come home. So it's to not appreciate it, understand it, and appreciate it for that would be a shame, I think. So it's not the tool in itself, but how we make it work for us, and in fact colonize it ourselves as something that we as Māori just embrace it and use it in the way in which we need it to be.
If I can follow on from that point, Auntie, it's coming up 3 weeks now. We buried my grandmother, and in the lead up to that, when she was sick at our home here in Whangarei, we were having obviously nightly whakamoemiti, and one thing that I was really surprised by was the amount of kaumātua and kuia that joined in via Zoom, via Skype, via Facebook Live, to speak to their tuahine, to speak to their cousin, to speak to their, all of, and a reflection of how far our kaumātua and kuia have come. Like, I mean, if I think about my grandmother, she had about 10 Facebook pages, about 3 cell phone numbers. You know, it was all over the show. But I mean, if we take the mark from our kaumātua and our kuia, he āhuatanga hau katoa ēnei hangaru kia rātou, their ability to grab it, not the kids, but our kaumātua and our kuia, i ahu mai i te ao kohatu, then we're really making steps forward. And at that time, I really saw when my grandmother's brother, and it was on her final night, he started doing his mihi, his poroporo aki to his tuahine via the internet. And for me, this is from Australia, from Brisbane, Australia, and for me, seeing something like that was beautiful. Obviously, with all the COVID regulations and the lockdown, but a tūngane still was given the chance to speak to his tuahine for the last time. And so, I mean, when it comes to that sort of thing, and you see it firsthand, you kind of can't really argue with technology and the beauty that it brings to not only a kuia, but a whole whānau here in New Zealand.
That's right, darling.
And it's when that push comes to shove. We've for the past 6 weeks, for this time, we've all been in lockdown, and we've had to rethink our tikanga. We've had to rethink our restrictions that we've put on ourselves, and adopt them and augment them in a way to fit our reality. And that's what it is. It's if our whānau can't reach the tangihanga, if they can't come to the events, like how do we provide access, make it accessible to them so they can still share in that experience, and then ultimately still share in that memory. And that's what if that's what tikanga is trying to do and trying to instill, then of course that should be the route that we take. So get there, cuz. Any further thing from you, Mum?
No, pai tēnā, son. Oi, no, I guess, no, haere tonu.
Alright, cool, ka pai. So our third question. As we've seen, the rangatahi population has mobilised both swiftly and effectively for contemporary and just causes. How do we maintain that momentum come election month? We'll start with you, Mum.
So how do we... I used to think before 2012, until Edu on the world stage on TED Talks told everybody that I was young a very long time ago. I thought then that that I was a reasonable fit, as many of us were, to hear and carry the message for young people. But of course, that's completely false and probably was never the case. So young people, and certainly, Hemi, in the suicide prevention work since 2012, it's never been more obvious to me. Young people generally dig listening to other young people about all kinds of things, the things that restrict and the things that free them. So I guess to the 19th of September, young people speaking, encouraging, enrolling, pushing even, and encouraging to get engaged, get enrolled, and turn your like into a vote, right? So that's kind of, that's what I'm first thinking, Hemi, to your question.
Yeah, that's a great answer, Mum. What are your thoughts, cuz? What do you see there?
Yeah, I think it'll be really interesting come September, whether we see if all of the, there's been a lot of, not commotion, but, like, especially this demographic, 18 to 20, 18 to 30, a lot of momentum around kaupapa such as Ihu Mātau, Black Lives Matter, all of these sorts of things where you just need to go on, like, I mean, I'm on my sister's Instagram and I can see, there's these 12, 13-year-old kids talking about Black rights movement, and that's awesome. And that's not to say that, and if we're I'm cautious of is that we need to create a framework where our kids and ourselves are safe in that, to be able to push these messages, because I'll bring it back to the marae. You can say anything you want, you just have to be ready to face the consequence. and that's not the thing. Yeah, face the fire that comes with it. And that's much the same. Everybody's got a Facebook page. Everyone's got an Instagram page. And it's one thing to be fighting the good fight, but how can you turn it into something as simple as a vote? I'm not too sure of the statistics off the top of my head, but the 2017 general election, Māori actual voting numbers weren't good. And if we can compare that with the amount of Māori who are online right now on Facebook, on Instagram, on Snapchat, wherever, fighting the good fight, if we can turn that around and put everyone with a Facebook page into a voting booth come September the 23rd, Te Ao Māori are going to be in a very good space and are going to be well represented for the next 3 years.
Yeah, definitely. I guess my thoughts were, definitely seeing the momentum that rangatahi, and as you just mentioned, how young they can be, which I think is an indication of just how ready and how much, I guess, a greater maturity within the younger population of rangatahi. Because they're engaged in technology and social media, their access to that information is instant. It doesn't take them to go to their older brother, to their parents, to their kaumātua. It's at their fingertips. So they can engage with the civil rights movement. They can look up all the information they need in their search and their inquiry, and then be able to, I guess, form an opinion on it. But yeah, you are right in supporting them in a way that they're kept safe, that they are well informed on the right stuff. And all those things that come with the power of knowledge. And how, I guess, looking at it at a way for the September, for election month, is informing rangatahi or reminding them of their power to vote. Like, you have your power to march, take it, and go as far as you want. And just also remember that you can make a change through your vote, and believe in it. Believe in you, is what I guess I want to say on that point.
And that's a thing, and I'm at a pains to kind of start banging on the colonization, banging on with the colonization numbers. But I mean, the quickest way to dispossess someone is to take away their culture and identity. And I think once we as Māori youth, and like you say, once we start waking up to the fact that there is a lot of power in simply putting 2 ticks in a box in September, there is a lot of power that will have far-reaching effects, not just for the next 3 years, but for our kids. And it's as simple as ticking 2 boxes. So, when I see like damning statistics saying how many Māori youth didn't turn out, they're registered, but they didn't even bother turning up to the polls on voting day. It's quite disheartening to see that these are, and we know them. They're our brothers, they're our sisters, they're our cousins, they're our bros. That just kind of, to put it plainly, don't care. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, come on, we're better than this. Like, there's so much power in our hands, yet we're not willing to, like, it's like the famous sword, the Excalibur. Pull it out and let it rip.
Exactly, cuz and just on that point, because this discussion Mum and I had on our trip down to Rotorua, so there's for the voting population, you have whānau who vote and then you have whānau who don't. So the question is, what's the difference? And it's history, or what I call political fitness. So there's kaumātua didn't vote, mum and dad didn't vote, why should I? Whereas the people who do vote, kaumātua voted, mum and dad voted, so do I. And that's the difference between the engagement and disengagement, I guess, from the system. But if, as you say, if we're the ones that are going to make the change, you have to also be the ones to say, no, it stops here. It stops here, and I will go and use my democratic right. I will invoke the civic right to go out and vote and make a stand for what I believe, or at least put my trust into a movement you think will best represent you. So that's a great point for that part. Is anything else you want to share with that question, Mum?
I am inspired by what I'm seeing on the posts, on the live comments. certainly what I saw in Rotorua, and in fact, you know, just in the Zui domain, where I see young people. So some of your friends, I'm sure both of you would have went to uni with them. Just their growing interest to just take hold of their future, like, and kaha ki te kōrero Māori, you know, this, I watched a zoo and there were like 5 of these young people and I'm like, they are just dynamite, you know, they're like you two, really. And they are ready to design, you know, break up stuff that doesn't work, rethink it, demand better, demand more for them and for their mokopuna and so on. So I'm really thrilled. I'm excited by what I'm feeling and seeing and hearing from young people, more than I ever have. I see it on, well, I think I've only got 23 friends on my Facebook page, but even that's pretty impressive in the last sort of like 10 weeks. I've certainly seen in the COVID time, the ideas and the step up from young people to just, yep, no, auntie, that's us, we'll be there, we'll meet you at New World, we'll load up that kai. So I think there's a tipping point. I think it's coming. And I think the more we have conversations of young people leading out their own conversations with digital, you know, immigrants like me on your, and supporting you on your shoulder, then I think that's what's going to take us through for the next 50, 100 years. Yeah. So we're setting the ground, my lot, you know, myself and my awesome 6 colleagues and all of our teams in the Māori Party domain. We are setting the ground, and we're gonna lay it, and we're gonna march to that result on the 19th. And I'm ready, and I'm excited by it. In the main, and I see if I just turn my head slightly, I can see the young ones just lining up. They're just coming through. So at some point we just step aside and let you go, and you'll just you know keep going.
Kia whai au I tērā kōrero, auntie, kei te rongo au I te wairu o ngā kōrero e mihi mai ana kia māua me tō māua whakatupuranga, me tō māua reanga, engari, me mohi o ngā mātua, me ngā kai mātua, nā koutou anō mātua I whakatupu. Kua koni atu I te toru te kautau, te kohanga reo e tūana, me te kura kaupapa Māori, me te whare kura, enei kaupapa o te mana Māori motuhake, kua roa e tohe ngiana kia tūai, nā koutou tērā. Engari, ko mātou hoi no tā mātou he whakatutuki I tā koutou I wawata ia. We're just taking the glory. We're just stealing the limelight for the hard work that was done in the 70s and the 80s and right there too. So I think once we start as a Māori movement, once we start to understand that this isn't just happening for the next, you know, for the duration of this campaign. This is a generational thing where the seeds were planted by our kaumātua, and the seeds that the kai that they ate were the seeds from their kaumātua that they planted, and so on and so on and so on. And so goes the intergenerational focus to move forward as a collective.
A shared vision, eh?
Yeah. So if I can just follow that kōrero, we're kind of just, me and him are pretty good at that, just stealing the limelight from
ka pai.
Keep the momentum going, bro.
Yeah.
Ka tira. It's just on that point, bro. I think back to my grandparents and the vision they had for our health clinic and understanding it's our duty. It's our responsibility to ensure that vision is met and continued and expanded to its utmost. And same for you and your whānau and your kaumātua who had visions of greatness for you, for your whānau, to ensure that we make them proud and see out their ambitions in that way. So I get what you're saying in that part, 100%.
Following that, cause I a koe kōrero ana ka hoki waku mahara ki tētahi huima te haere au ki runga o tauhenare I pipi wai. Te wainga I te lockdown, ka tūtaka kua te waihoroe ka ki, I roto I te reo Pākehā, ka ki ia, o kia mohi o tātou he nui atu I this might get me in trouble, but nui atu I te kotahi rau tangata I tautu ki te hui mo te hoa. I te kōrero o Uncle Wasi, obligation is turning up face to face for the ones who matter. Obligation is turning up face to face for the ones who truly matter. And I think when we start understanding that sense of obligation that you talk about, Hemi, that is in every single one of us, rangatahi mai, taipakeke mai anō hoki, then we're going to be dangerous. We're going to be forced to reckon with.
Yeah, because it's not about us. Eh? It's not about us as individuals. It's from them or from those who've gone before us for those who are coming. And that's I guess the Māori whakaaro crew. We are a vehicle. We're an agent for that change and an agent for that outcome. But yeah, I get what you're saying, cuz true. So we're just coming up to the conclusion of our conversation. So we'll close out with this final question. We'll start with you, Mum. If you could give your younger self any advice or tip, what would they be?
My younger self. I'm not sure. I guess listen to your mama. I mean, persist, I guess, son. I don't know. I think my younger self was pretty cool anyway. Is that okay to say that? And and I'd probably, if I had to, I'd run my same life because I know what I did do at a particular age when I wasn't satisfied just instinctually by what I was feeling and seeing around me. I chased down the information. It wasn't provided to me from school. My mummy and daddy, they're way too busy raising 10 kids. So at some point I knew this just didn't feel and sound right. So I chased down the information. And I mean, so it was this political, well, that wasn't even the word I realized then, but it was like, this is not the story. I'm not trusting what I'm hearing as my story as a Māori. You know, I'm like, I don't trust it. This doesn't feel right. And so I chased it down and then of course liberated myself in that regard. So probably where I land today is probably where I was always meant to land. And and we've got a lot of work to do.
Cool.
Koe ara, whānau first, koe tau mā.
Kia koe, cuz?
Can I just preface my answer by saying, Auntie, you don't look a day over 21.
Oh,
you're still young, Auntie. For the younger me, probably slow down would probably be. I think, especially in our generation here, a lot of us we see so much injustice around us. So we're all trying to be good at hunting, be good at fishing, be good at speaking on the marae, be good at working in a Western corporate environment. We're all trying to be good at mowing the lawns. We're trying to do everything under the sun. At the same time, where some of us lose sight of what's really important. And it's not until you kind of come into age and you begin to mature that you have the ability to look retrospectively and see, okay, kei te marama, e marama na hau te rai. So I think, for me, my advice to my younger self would be, slow down and take, it's cheesy. Tērā kōrero a te Pākehā ne, take time to smell the roses.
Ātahaere.
Ātahaere, and be critical with what, a lot of us young fellas, we go around and it's kind of like a shotgun scatter effect where we kind of just go at anything. Then you see the kaumātua standing out in the middle of the lake with his taoroa, and he knows which eel he wants, and he'll take that one eel, and that's that. The young fellas will go out with that 2 hinaki in each hand and we'll try and clean the whole river out. But those sorts of things. Kia ata haere.
Kia ora, cuz. I guess for me, just similar to Mum, my advice for younger self would be listen to Mum and the next one would be do as dad says, not as he does. And then the final one would be just love yourself.
Yes.
Wholly and truly. And that's, I think, something for me personally. I've just had to mature with, to understand, like, ko au tēnei, me taku katoa, and being okay and proud of that, and who I am, and then knowing that that power within me, I don't have to justify myself to anyone else. I don't have to compete with anyone else, because I'm all I'm meant to be.
Yeah.
And that's what I'd say to myself if I could speak to myself at a younger age.
Bro,
Yeah,
following,
do you have anything else, cuz?
sorry, cuz following that, toko ake ana ngā whakaaro mō tētahi kōrero a tōku tētahi oku tuaka ana, i roto i te mātou kapahaka o hātea. And he'll send us messages weekly, and every message will be signed off, love your kids, love your wife, but most importantly, love yourself. And that kind of sums it up pretty much. It's you know, and in those two words, love yourself, you know, it's looking after the whole, you know, the spiritual dimension, your cultural, you know, your physical, everything about yourself, to make sure that you are the best Māori that you can be. What's hea tērā kōrero te tupuna nei a himi tau, tāna kōrero, it is preposterous. It is preposterous that any Māori should be
So you're a Pākehā man or something, okay?
Yeah, for his true destiny as prescribed by the Creator is to be a great Māori. Pai tērā kōrero. Pai tērā kōrero. Me te hāngai kia tātou. E hāngai tūna ana kōrero. Yeah.
Cool, cuz. Mum, is there anything else you'd like to share?
No, can't read tēnā, hear me. It's just, I'm sitting here and then I'm watching you two, and I'm just so impressed. I look forward to voting for you two one day. Just saying.
No reira e tiwi, ko tinga kōrero I konei. No reira ngā mihi kia koutou, ko whai wāhi mai ki tēnei kōrero, ki tēnei wānanga, huru noa I te motu, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa.